So good morning everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Josh and today we're going to be talking about the part 3 of the Building a Better Van series. And in this video we're going to focus on water tanks. So before we get too far into today's video, I want to say thank you to the sponsor of today's video and every video you will see here on the channel, and that is Adventure Rig Shop. If you're looking for parts, pieces, and components for your Sprinter van, that's a good place to do it. I'll put the link in the description as well as a discount code to save 5% on your next purchase. All right, so let's discuss water tanks and water systems in general. I want to go back a few steps here in what we had previously because I think it'll provide a greater context and it'll give more information as to different ways that you can get water or have a pseudo water system inside your camper van. So for us originally, like in the previous two videos, and if you haven't seen those two, I will put the links in the corners so you can watch them. I'll also put the link in the description so you can watch through the first two videos. And I did everything very, what I like to refer to as caveman. I did everything very caveman. In the beginning, it was just to get the van on the road. I needed to make it comfortable. I needed to make it functional, but it did not need to be over the top. Obviously, money was a huge reason why we didn't do everything perfect the first time. And so we kind of did what we could to get the van functional for us while we travel. And the water system was a big, I want to say, I sacrificed a lot for the water system originally. So our original water system was 2 jerry cans. And a lot of people still do this today, but we did it even more caveman than what a lot of people do with a 2 jerry can system setup. So I couldn't find the additional spare pump that I bought off of Amazon, but what I did is I bought a submersible water pump basically for a fish tank that ran off of a 12-volt circuit. And every time I wanted to turn the water on, I wasn't able to control the water with the handle on the sink. I had to press a button on the wall and it would turn the water on. It would flow out of one tank into the drain and down into another 5-gallon jerry can. And that was our system. It was not the most functional. I never had warm water, and I still don't have warm water, but the water pressure wasn't very good, and that was fine for us in the beginning. So it was a 2 jerry can system, a submersible water pump. We pumped water through the sink, had to turn it on with a button. Super inconvenient, but we lived that way for 2 years out of our van. And honestly, it never gave us really any issues. It worked every single time, always. I never had a problem with my plumbing. And I think for us building the van, there were already so many unknowns. There was a lot of stuff we didn't understand, and adding plumbing to a moving vehicle, I'm not a plumber. I can plumb if I have to plumb like most people. I can learn anything if I take the time to try to learn it. But I didn't want to have plumbing running under my van and up through the van and making more holes. So I just did it as caveman as I could, and that worked for us. I will try to find the link for the submersible water pump we used and put it in the description from Amazon. I'm no promises that I can, but it was basically a submersible fish tank water pump, and you can find them on Amazon. They're extremely inexpensive. We always carried an extra one in the event that we needed it, but we never needed it. So that was 2 years of living in a van that way, and we just kind of lugged water around. Every time I needed to change the water, I would have to get back in this back cabinet. I would have to take the empty water can from up front, bring it back here, grab another 5-gallon water jug that was full, carry it up, and put it underneath our sink. And then I would attach everything. I had it kind of ran through the lid, so the lid would always stay there, and I would put it on, I would screw the lid on, and we had 5 gallons of water again. And I usually carried 4 tanks back here. I'm sorry for the plane, I'm outside today. I had 4 tanks back here, and I had one underneath. So I carried 25 gallons of water. 25 gallons of water would generally last us 10 days. We would go through 5 gallons every 2 days, and depending on the day, sometimes it would be 5 gallons per day. So, anywhere from 5 to 10 days, depending on how many people were in the van and the water usage. But that was the old setup. The new setup is much better. All right, so coming into the 21st century on our new water system, it is definitely a huge upgrade. So let's talk about the things that are the same, and then we'll get into the important part, the things that are different. So the things that are the same is I have the same sink setup. I have the same switch control on the wall, but now if I turn the switch on, I can control the water flow with the handle, and I can keep the switch on. The water can always be on. It's no longer I have to turn it on and off every time I want to use the water. We also have a 5-gallon jerry can that we still use for all of our gray water. And I do have a 15-gallon water tank in my garage right now that I can fit underneath the side step where the slider opens, and I could have all of my gray water run into there, and I would have 15 gallons of gray water underneath, and I would have to dispose of it like you generally dispose of gray water. The reason I haven't done that, and this is probably something you should take into consideration, and maybe it's not something you've ever thought about. Whenever we're camping or we're out on the trail or wherever we are, even at a campground, we usually have a campfire. And when you have a campfire, especially out west on the East Coast, it's not as big of an issue, although you should always drown your campfires. It's a lot more wet over here, and water's generally a lot easier to access than it is in the desert. So that 5-gallon of gray water, we use that every single night or morning before we leave camp, whatever it is, to drown our campfires. And it keeps us from having to have additional water storage or additional water that we can just waste essentially to put on the campfire. When I say waste, you can no longer have it for drinking. So that becomes kind of a problem. So we still have the same 5-gallon jerry can setup, but we do have a 3-gallon per minute SureFlow water pump, and that pumps from our 28-gallon Northwest Conversions water tank. That is where the original spare tire in your Sprinter van usually goes. So that 28-gallon tank is then plumbed to the pump that sucks the water up, dumps it into the sink, and that fills up a 5-gallon jerry can underneath the sink that we dispose of properly or use to drown our campfires. So it's a much more robust system, and in order to fill up our 28-gallon tank, we have a quick disconnect. We can connect it to any garden hose anywhere. We were just in Wyoming, and we stopped at a gas station. We used their hose. We put the disconnect on, we pump it in, and we have a pour over spout on the water tank. So once it fills up, it starts to spill over. You turn it off, quick disconnect, and you're back on the road. It takes about 5 minutes to fill up your water tank. There are a couple problems that we have with the 28-gallon water tank. The first one, and really the one that is the most important, is we don't ever really know how much water we have. You really can't tell. I don't have any type of water sensor in there to notify me when the water is getting down. So it's something that we're still trying to figure out and get our hands around. Now, another reason I wanted to stick with the 5-gallon gray water tank is, well, there's two more reasons. The first reason is I don't have to have any additional plumbing ran throughout the van to dump water into that 5-gallon tank. And it's something that you should consider, because if you have any type of leak, tracking down a leak or finding out where it's at, taking your whole galley out, taking your floor up, it's a huge pain. So we ran everything underneath the van up into the galley, goes right to the pump, and that's what pumps our water. And when you have a gray tank, you have to then drain the water down, and it goes into the gray tank, and there's plumbing that's involved in there, and you could get a leak. That's why I stayed away from plumbing inside of a van from the very beginning, is because these things move. We're not easy on our van. We go on a lot of hard trips, and even if the road's not very difficult in terms of technical rating, it's bumpy, and you're bumping around a lot, and a lot of stuff can come loose. So it's something to consider. Now, that 5-gallon water tank just keeps everything very, very easy. You do have to check it on a regular basis. That would be another con to having it, is you can't see in it. You have to kind of unscrew the top to take a look and find out what you're working with, so you know you don't want to overfill, and that could be a huge problem. And one thing that we found with our sink, we did find a sink attachment on Amazon that, as opposed to coming straight down out of the sink, it makes a quick 90. So it's very flush to the bottom of the sink, and that allows us to connect our drain hose, and it doesn't kink up the drain hose. One problem we had originally was the drain hose was getting kinked up. It wasn't flowing down into it, and we almost had to do like this motion of grabbing it and dumping it, grabbing it and dumping it to kind of get the air to release the water. It was a huge pain in the beginning, but we've been able to dial in a system that gives us absolutely no issues, and it's been really convenient for us on our trips. So the other convenience that I think I forgot to mention is we don't travel with, we don't have an interior shower, and we don't have a bathroom. We don't have water running to a bathroom. We have a bucket. My 3-year-old girl has taken the potty breaks in a lot of really cool places. We just use a bucket. We use what they're called wag bags. They fit on top of the bucket, and you clean them up. When you're done, you wrap them up, you zip them tight, and you dispose of them. So it's just, we don't care about having to pee or poop outside. That's part of it for us. And then the shower. So we have a portable Julka propane heated, shower. And we have a quick attachment to our water tank. Now, I would probably never use the quick attachment for the Julka only because we have 28 gallons of water. So you probably don't realize how many gallons of water you go through when you're taking a shower. But what we'll do is we will take one of our empty water tanks that we keep back here, and we will fill that up with river water or creek water, and we will run our shower off of that, and we will just keep refilling it as necessary. A really good, comfortable shower with the Julka is about 30 gallons, so you need to keep that in mind. If you're using your Julka for your water tank or connected to your water tank, you're going to pull through that 28 gallons in a matter of 5 or 10 minutes, and then you're going to need to fill up your water again. So it's kind of, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to use it, but in a pinch, we have that option. All right, so let's talk about the last part of this, and the last part of this is drinking water. We do not drink the water that comes from our water tank because we're filling up with dirty hoses, and I don't know what kind of water it is. It could be well water, it could be nasty. It might not taste good. I don't know. I'm kind of a weirdo about the water that I drink, so we don't drink water out of the 28-gallon tank. What we do is we carry 2 5-gallon jerry cans always with us. So we always have 10 gallons of water that we can drink from. When we need to fill up our water bottles, I grab them out of this back cabinet right here. Sorry for the noise. It's also where my Starlink goes. It fits in there perfectly. And I fill up our water bottles, and we drink the water, and we just go through our gallons of water that way. So realistically speaking, we have 10 gallons of drinking water, and we have 28 gallons of water to use to wash dishes, brush your teeth, wash your face, cook with, all the other things that you would do, but we just do not drink it. So in total, we generally carry 38 gallons of water with us. When we start, we have 38 gallons of water, and that, a 5-gallon drinking water jug usually takes us about 2.5 days to go through. So that's usually around 5 days, maybe 6, depending on how much water we drink or depending on the climate that we're in. And then you have roughly between 5 and 10 days out of your 28 gallons down here. That's what we have for us. We make coffee in a French press every morning. Anytime we're boiling water or making pasta or whatever it is, all of those things add up. But we can usually go completely off grid for anywhere between 6 to 10 days, depending on the climate and depending upon what we're using our water for and how much attention we're paying to not using water or using the water that we need when we need it. Okay, so that's my justification for adding a 28-gallon water tank below the van. Now, that's not for everybody. Did we need the word need? I tell my son that he can't use the word need. He's only allowed to use the word want, because you don't need anything, but you probably want it. And that's the similar thing with this. We did not need it. Our system worked. Was it efficient? No. Was it, did it give us the most time to go camping or to be off grid? No. And that was another thing with 10 kilowatts of power. We didn't need 10 kilowatts of power. What we had worked, but we wanted more so we could go further, we could go longer, we could do those things. This weekend, we spent all weekend at a motocross race. My son races motocross. We were there all weekend. It's Labor Day weekend, back home on Monday, and we had our water. We had 10 gallons. We didn't have hookups. Everything, we had enough to go the entire weekend, and we didn't need it, but it was nice to not have to worry about bringing a generator, trying to figure out a way to put it all together. So I didn't need this. I wanted this as an option for us on the second phase of our van build, rebuilding this van. I wanted to do everything that I didn't do the first time better. We got 2 years of living in our van the way it was, and we noticed its inefficiencies, and that's literally what I tried to fix. I didn't need to go over the top. We still have the same beds. We still have the same storage system. Our galley is a little bit different, but realistically, we just wanted a bigger refrigerator so we could have more food. So it's all those little things that we kind of put together in this phase 2 of our van life experience to basically give us more comfort and more time off grid, and more time together as a family, all of those things. So that's the long and short of why we went with a 28-gallon water tank and all the things that we've done in the van as it pertains to water. The next video is going to be the last video of this 4-part series, where we're going to talk about the suspension setup, because we changed it all. And again, that was one of the things we did not need to do in the beginning, because it was fine. It worked. We lasted 2 years riding on our bump stops, which was stupid. But that's just, we sacrificed in other areas to have other things, and I think everybody does that to some extent. So next video in the series, we'll talk about the suspension setup, why we went the way we did, what we did, how it rides, and what you can expect if you decide to do the same. So I appreciate you for watching. Have a great Labor Day. I hope that you guys get this video tonight. I don't know if you will. We are going down to Wayne National Forest to ride our new Suron that we just picked up, the Ultra B. I'm thinking about making some videos about that, but I have not committed to making videos about motorcycles yet. As you can see, my life is transpiring away from overland rigs and that kind of stuff into motorcycles. So anyways, I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.